Now we will run through line by line. This is the event handler for our button click. Which button click? Go to form on design. This is the button click. When you double click on the calculate interest, it comes here. This is the button click event handler. You can also take note that what is this? We already defined the name property. What is the name property? Go to calculate interest. See, I can't find the properties. What is the step? If you can't find the properties, what do you need to do? Right click on the control, click properties. Nice. You can look for name property. Where is name property? See, we created a customized name property, which is btn calculate. Now we come back. So we have a property name and followed by click. This is generated by Visual Studio. So simply we can say this is the button event handler. Now I close the properties window. I don't want. This text principal.txt reads the typed in the principal text box. What is this txt principal.text? We go back to design. Okay, another tips I'm going to give now. Every time what we are doing, you are clicking form1.cs design. Again, you are clicking form1.cs. Is it nice? Of course, it's nice. If you are a good developer, you need to follow some shortcut keys. What you need to do? Simply right click, view designer, or you can press Shift F7. Now I press view designer. See, nice. Again, if you want to go back to the developer side, again, go to view code. Nice, great. Okay, now we come back to our thing. Okay, you want to understand what is text principal text. This is the text principal. Go to properties, right click. See here, we define the name txt principal. Switch to code. So what you enter in this text box, we will receive the input and we convert into double and we store in the principal variable. Then you may have a question, what is the use of double dot parse? It converts the text into a double number so that you can do math. Because this is a text box. Usually text box is a string type. We receive as a string, but we want to do it for mathematics purpose. So we are converting into double. So this is for conversion purpose, converting from string to double and store the result in a variable of principal. Similarly, we receive the input from textRate.txt, which is textRate. This is the one. What user gives the input here, we receive the input and convert into double dot parse. Then we store the result in a rate variable. Similarly, we receive the txt time. What is txt time? This is the txt time. We receive the input from the text box and converting into double and store the result in the time. So finally, we have the value for principal, rate, and time. Now we are going to apply the formula. This is the formula for the simple interest and store the result in the interest variable. Next, this is the LBL result. This is the label. Which label we define here? This is the label. How you can confirm? See here, we already defined the name called LBL result. Now you can understand why we want to provide a proper naming convention. If you don't provide a proper naming convention, when you are working on the backend side, the developers very hard to understand what is text box 1, text box 2, text box 3. If you don't provide a proper naming convention, what will happen? It will show text box 1, text box 2, text box 3. Definitely all developers will get confused. What is text box 1, 2, 3? So we have to provide a proper naming conventions. Then the backend developers can easily understand, okay, we are going to convert txt rate, which is rate. We are going to convert and store in a rate variable. So the backend developers can easily provide a relevant variable name. I hope now you understand why I always recommend to provide a naming convention for each control. Next is, see, I provide a naming convention LBL result. Then the backend developer will understand, okay, this is a label. It's not a text box because we indicated LBL label. Okay, great. Anyone know what are we doing here? If anyone knows the answer, please provide a comment. Okay, what are we doing here? This is called string interpolation, which is a nice feature in CSharp.net. This is called string interpolation. Allows inserting variables directly in text. We can provide a text. This is the text message, constant string. And we can also provide your variable, which is variable here, interest. Interest is the variable. And you may have a question, what is F2? F2 is formatting the number to two decimal places. In case the interest variable carries more than two decimal places, it will automatically maintain only two decimal places. That's why we specify F2. Awesome. Next, last line. Now we have all the results. We have principal, result, rate, time, interest. Now we want to display the value in our grid view. So I'm using rows. What is the purpose of rows? Now we are going to add a new row to show this column. Because what we did in the front end, we have created four columns: principal, rate, time, and interest. These four values will appear in the grid view. I hope you understood. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Please provide a comment. I will explain in the next video clearly. Now we are going to execute the application. We want to confirm how our application works now. What we need to do, my cursor, press this, or alternatively, you can also press F5, which is a shortcut key to run the application. So now I press start. Now the application is compiling. Wow, nice. Our application runs successfully. Wow, wonderful. Okay, now we are going to enter some value, principal amount 7, 2, time, years, 5. I press calculate interest. So nice. We have a result now. Simple interest is 0.70. And here also we are providing the details. Principal, what we enter in the text box, we are showing here. Rate 2, time 5, and the interest. What we calculated, we are showing here. Nice one. Now you may have a question. How it works? I can't understand really how it works in the backend side. Do you willing to debug it? Yes, we can debug it now. Okay, how to debug it? First, I will close this. Now we are going to set a breakpoint. You may have a question, what is breakpoint? A breakpoint tells Visual Studio to pause the program at a specific line so you can check what is happening. If you are a good developer, you should learn how to set a breakpoint. Without breakpoint, you can't develop any program, because when you are working on the program, definitely you will face some error. You need to know what is the error and what is the solution for the error. You need to understand more about the errors. Then only you can go for a solution. For all things, first you need to understand how to perform a debugging. Debugging is one of the main skill to troubleshoot any errors. So we will learn how to set a debug. You can see here, you can look at my cursor, click in the gray margin to the left. You can see my cursor, click in the gray margin to the left of a line you want to check. You can check anywhere. Suppose you want to troubleshoot a error, where you want to troubleshoot a error, you can click to that line. Now I want to click from the line number 12. So simply I just one click. A red dot immediately appear. This is your breakpoint. Okay, now again I am going to run the application. You can see my cursor, press the start button. Again I am going to enter some value. Okay, press calculate interest. You can see now when I press calculate interest, wow, now the cursor is waiting for you. Earlier the result immediately appear. Now the result doesn't appear immediately. Now you can mouse over to the variable. See here what you enter on the text box. Now you can see the value. This is one of the main skill set required if you are a good developer, because we want to troubleshoot some errors. If you are working for a bigger application, definitely some errors will happen. You should not panic. Immediately you put a breakpoint to the relevant line and you start to investigate what is happening, what we are entering value. After that, what are we doing? Where is the error? You need to debug line by line. So now we are performing now. So we are checking first, are we sending correct value? Okay, I am sending 5 to the txt principal dot text. Okay, now I press F10. F10 means jump to the next line. Shortcut key F10. I press F10. If you press F10, it will jump to the next line. Now you can mouse over to the principal variable. You can see now the principal shows 5. Now you can understand principal variable stores the value as 5. Again, you can check txt rate.text. It keeps 5. I press F10. If you press F10, then only you will know what is the value of the rate. This line executed successfully, no error. You can mouse over to the rate. See 5. Next, third line. This is the txt time.text, which is the time text box. So you can see the value, what you enter, 3. Press F10, time. This is the value for the time variable. Again, we are back to the formula. I press F10. See, nice. You can see the result here. This is where you need to troubleshoot your actual application. Again, I press F10. I can see the result in the label. This is the result showing in the label. Okay, last line. This is the data grid view, which we are going to add 4 columns in the data grid view. You can mouse over to the principal, mouse over to rate, time, interest. Press F10. Right? Clear? You understand how the debug point works now? Now I want to press continue. If you press the continue button, it will skip the debugging. Directly it will execute the program. Wonderful. We are back to the application now. You can see the result. Similarly, you can enter some other value, press calculate interest. Again, you can debug it, press F10 to the next line F10, F10, F10. Nice. I hope you understand how to debug this program.